We're about 2 weeks away from the debut of House of the Dragon, the much-anticipated prequel to HBO's Game of Thrones. And already there have been talks going around about what the show will be like. And for today's video, we'll be talking about a popular topic that's been circling the media. According to some, the House of the Dragon is about the patriarchy's perception of women. Is there some truth behind this claim? Stay tuned. The patriarchy's perception of women is the subject of House of the Dragon. Arya and Brienne of Tarth, as well as characters people loved to hate like Cersei Lannister, were among Game of Thrones' many amazing three-dimensional female characters. These women ranged from fearless warriors to astute strategists to clever wordsmiths. Two sophisticated female characters will now be at the heart of the prequel series House of the Dragon, which is set 200 years before the original series, and takes place at the height of the Targaryen dynasty in Westeros. Now, let's take a look at the key players in the House of the Dragon and what might be the show's focus. Keep on watching to find out. First up is King Viserys Targaryen's only child and contentious heir to the throne, Rhaenyra, who was portrayed by Millie Alcock as a child and Emma Darcy as an adult. Then there's Alicent Hightower, a character who was Rhaenyra's childhood friend and the daughter of the Hand of the King, who was portrayed by Emily Carey as a child and Olivia Cooke as an adult. The reason that legendary Thrones director Miguel Sapochnik returned to Westeros, this time as an executive producer, was to center the pair on the Targaryen story. George R.R. Martin attempted to stay true to the political and social structure of that time, when women, while admittedly influential in court intrigue, didn't have much in the way of real power. Westeros is largely based on the War of the Roses, the centennial civil war fought over control of the English throne in the 15th century. In House of the Dragon, the concept to center the series around Rhaenyra and Alicent originated with Sapochnik's wife, Alexis Rabin, who also works as a development executive at his production firm. One day, this would be much more interesting if it was about the two main female characters rather than the male characters, Sapochnik says. If you really focused in on the patriarchy's perception of women and the fact that they'd rather destroy themselves than see a woman on the throne, this wasn't a perspective I have ever told before. I think it made this show feel more contemporary too. Although they are initially friends on the show, when the patriarchal system in the kingdom is disrupted, they find themselves on opposing sides of an ideological spectrum. The conflict that results from the tension between Rhaenyra and Alicent's similarities and differences was a major reason for Emma Darcy accepting the role of the king's daughter. The royal court serves as their common garden where they both grew up. However, Rhaenyra is humming with the fire of old Targaryenism, and Alicent is better at adhering to the rules of court tactics. It's almost like she has an ally within of her, and she needs to learn when to put out that fire and when to put her trust in it. There's a path of ashes leading around her. That trail of ashes will only grow in size with all the dragons flying around. Moving on to other news, House of Dragon's producer clarifies that the show will not portray graphic violence. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, then you're most likely aware that the show has pretty much every violent scene depicted throughout the season. Thankfully, its successor won't be following Game of Thrones' harsh portrayal. Producer of House of the Dragon Sarah Hess has now made it quite clear that the prequel series won't follow in the footsteps of Game of Thrones, which received a great deal of criticism for its representations of violence against women. Graphic violence was a frequent subject throughout the 8 seasons of the fantasy drama series, which never shied away from portraying the struggles of life in Westeros. While most viewers accepted and even enjoyed the bloodshed, the representations of rape were a different story, with many believing that the show to some extent reveled in the horrifying assaults suffered by women. That's probably debatable considering that the most gruesome scenes were actually deleted from the film, but HBO is undoubtedly motivated to prevent a similar degree of criticism with House of the Dragon. Hess stressed in a Vanity Fair interview that the show does not feature violence. We handle one instance off-screen and instead show the aftermath and impact on the victim and the mother of the perpetrator. Hess continued, I think what our show does, and what I'm proud of, is that we choose to focus on the violence against women that is inherent in a patriarchal system. Hess's remarks were interpreted as clarification in light of an earlier interview with co-showrunner Miguel Sapochnik, whose statement that the prequel series will actually shine a light on that period of Westeros history raised some eyebrows. Additionally, Sapochnik said that the violence men inflicted on women at the time could not be ignored and should not be praised or minimized. Now, since we mentioned violence, another actor is concerned that his scenes in the upcoming show may be a little too much. Who might this actor be? You better keep on watching to know who this is. Doctor Who actor Matt Smith confesses to having questioned whether HBO's eagerly awaited series House of the Dragon is a little too steamy. The actor who plays Prince Daemon Targaryen spoke about the scenes in the Game of Thrones prequel series, which is based in part on George R.R. Martin's 2018 novel Fire and Blood, in a recent interview with British Rolling Stone. The nature of HBO's Emmy-winning Thrones, which concluded after 8 highly regarded seasons in May 2019, has already sparked controversy. You do find yourself asking, do we need another scene? The actor said about House of the Dragon. And they're like, yeah, we do. I guess you have to ask yourself, what are you doing? Are you representing the books, or are you diluting the books to represent the time we're living in? And I actually think it's your job to represent the books truthfully and honestly as they were written. When questioned if his character had a fair number of romantic scenes, Smith conceded that it's a little too much, and claimed that he had read portions but not all of the lengthy Fire and Blood. The big screen adaptation of the Marvel Comics anti-hero Morbius, which debuted in theaters in April and presently has a 16% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, was another topic Smith covered during the discussion. About the Jared Leto starring film, he added that the film was thrown under the bus, but all one can do is accept it since at the end of the day, it's just a movie. No lives are being saved. Whatever the cause, it wasn't quite right. Now we all know that House of Dragon will be premiering this August 21st. The question is, when do new episodes come out? We are all aware that the premiere of House of the Dragon is on Sunday, August 21st. We'll spend a moment watching the show since there are a total of 10 episodes. At 8:00 p.m., new episodes will debut on HBO and HBO Max, CST. Therefore, the first season will continue until Sunday, October 30th. According to what we can currently see, House of Dragon episodes will likely last an hour on average. We are prepared for some consistency, even if later episodes have longer run times. The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, which debuted on Amazon Prime Video on September 2nd, will run simultaneously with House of the Dragon, so you just have to pick one fantasy or the other. For those who still don't have a clue about what House of the Dragon is, here's a brief intro on what the show is all about. American fantasy drama television series House of the Dragon was developed by Ryan J. Condal and George R.R. Martin for HBO. It's a precursor to the Game of Thrones 2011 to 2019 television series and is based in part on Martin's 2018 book Fire and Blood. The dramatization of the Targaryen family's beginning and demise, as well as the events leading up to and covering the Dance of the Dragons Targaryen conflict of succession, is set 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones. And that's basically everything you need to know so far about the upcoming HBO series House of the Dragon. The rest you could get to know as soon as the show premieres on August 21st. Are you excited about this upcoming GOT prequel? Let us know in the comments section below. Before you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel with the notification bell on for more videos like these, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.